It is time now for our weekend cover story, and it is the wildly popular video app that has amassed over 1 billion monthly users worldwide.
But there are growing calls for TikTok to be banned due to national security concerns.
Dancing cats, cooking tutorials and silly skits. Sounds pretty harmless, right? Well, it depends who you ask. TikTok is in the spotlight this week after Canada and the US banned the Chinese-owned app on government-issued devices over concerns about how data is accessed and stored.
This is a tool that is ultimately within the control of the Chinese government, and to me, it screams out with national security concerns.
The White House has now endorsed a new bill that would give President Biden the power to restrict or ban the app if it's deemed a security risk.
China, with its authoritarian values dominating those technologies, is not in the national security interest of our country or, for that matter, people across the world.
But TikTok hit back, saying in a statement it's never shared user data with the Chinese government. Back home, Aussie politicians aren't shying away from the app. The Liberal, Labor and Greens parties are all embracing TikTok. But despite the fanfare, there are growing calls for the app to be banned here too.
I think the first thing to do is to ban TikTok on any devices that are held by government officials.
So just how serious is this threat, and what impact would a ban have on Australia's 3 million TikTok users? It is a big issue, and here to discuss, we are joined by Liberal Senator James Paterson from Melbourne. And in the studio, we have TikTok talent manager Alex Reid and TikTok star Maddie McRae. Welcome to you all.
Thank you.
Senator, we are going to start with you because you are running a committee that is looking into foreign interference through social media. Why do you think TikTok is considered a national security risk?
There are two main challenges with TikTok. The first is what it does with our data, and the second is the way it controls the flow of information. When it comes to our data, we know, because TikTok admitted to me in a letter in July last year, that Australian user data is accessible in mainland China. That's a problem because Chinese people and companies are required under its national security laws to assist its intelligence agencies and to keep that assistance secret. So they could be handing over data on Australians to the Chinese government without us ever knowing. The second issue is on that flow of information. TikTok's algorithm is not transparent. We would have no way of knowing whether TikTok tried to push disinformation into our political system to undermine our social cohesion and influence our political system. And there's good reasons to believe that they would do both. In the case of disinformation, it's a platform which is very permissive and friendly for disinformation. Foreign state-backed disinformation is rife on the platform. And in relation to data, TikTok last year in December had to admit that they had allowed their employees to secretly spy on journalists who are writing critical articles about TikTok. And they initially lied about it. They said it wasn't technically possible, but subsequently ended up firing 4 employees who were involved in that surveillance.
So, James, it's worth making the point that there's so many other social media platforms operating right now that are storing data in other countries too. A lot of people might say that you're picking on TikTok. Why are you worried about it?
You're absolutely right. All social media companies pose a degree of risk, but most of those social media companies are headquartered in liberal democracies governed by the rule of law, like the United States. And Australia and the United States have a very different relationship to the relationship that Australia has with China at the moment. China is our number one source of cybersecurity attacks. China is our number one source of foreign interference. The Chinese government has been openly trying to economically coerce Australia. So to give the Chinese government a powerful vector to influence our democracy and our society through millions of TikTok users is a much more dangerous thing than Facebook or Twitter or Instagram trying to sell us holidays or golf clubs.
All right, Alex, let's go to you now, because you represent about 40 Australian TikTokers who are making a pretty decent living from the platform. How do you feel about these calls for it to be banned?
Well, I understand that Australians are concerned about how their data is being used online, but what I think is really unhelpful is this kind of discourse that targets TikTok simply because it's a Chinese company. Every social media platform has to use your personal data in order to perform. And I think this misinformation and this conspiracy theories about what the Chinese government may or may not do with our data is not helpful. I think the politicians need to work on legislation that can help protect the Australian people, make them feel comfortable online, because banning TikTok will do nothing. Tomorrow there'll be another app. So let's work on legislation that is a world first and leads the world in how people's data is looked after.
Maddie, let's bring you in because you're a TikToker, a TikTok star. How many followers do you have?
1.5 million.
Quite a few. Are you worried?
I'm Not
Or
worried.
cautious? Are you cautious?
Well, I feel like it would. It's my whole career. I've built a career on being on TikTok, and yes, I'm on the other platforms, but most creators in Australia find that their biggest platform is TikTok, and I would say 80% of my income comes from this app alone. So if it is banned, I lose my livelihood, and I'd have to seek income elsewhere. And there's tens of thousands of creators who are on the app who are alive and well and doing really well on the app, so it would really impact us.
For people who aren't TikTokers, what do you love about it?
It's a creative outlet that's on my own terms. It's a great community. Everyone's really lovely on the app, and we really build our content around the people who are watching. So it's a really great way to connect with people.
Okay. James, quickly to you, should it be banned? Do you sit here today and say, I want to ban this thing?
It should absolutely be taken off all government devices, as the United States, Canada, the European Union and many other countries have done. All of those countries have recognised the serious national security threat it poses to government users, so that should have happened some time ago. I think we should keep all options on the table on protecting the other millions of Australians who use the app. If we can solve this problem through means less severe than banning it, then I'm very open to that. But I think we have to keep that option on the table, because unfortunately TikTok is a company that hasn't told the truth in the past around the way it operates. It collects much more data on its users than most other apps, including their physical location, including the other apps stored on their phone, including the Wi-Fi locations that you've logged in. It even has the power to record every keystroke that you enter into its in-app browser. And unlike many other apps, it doesn't allow you to leave the application to use other browsers that don't engage in that kind of tracking. This is a very dangerous app. It could impact the privacy and safety of millions of Australians, and we have to address it.
Okay, well, let's hope we can do something, and for people like you, Maddie, keep it around. Thank you all for your time this morning.
Hey there, Today fans. Sarah and...
What's my name again?
Oh my goodness, Karl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports and amazing Aussie stories.
And Karl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
that never happens.
Always happens.
What's she talking about?